Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter Podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter End of the Year show. And this is where we recap all the best action of the year. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Joe Habib. And we have a great show for you today. And if you want to call in and ask questions or give your take on anything, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. And we'll be here. We'll be here for as long as it takes. How about that? We might even be here till through the new year, Beeb. We might even be kicking off the new year right here.
You know what? This could be an all-nighter.
It absolutely could be. It could be one of those shows that goes on all night, baby.
And I don't even care if it does.
You know what, Beeb? When you have me and Beeb, the party just doesn't stop. That's the bottom line.
And don't forget Lois.
How can I forget Lois?
Watch your tongue now, please.
She's a portable party. I don't want to listen, man, I don't want to get in trouble with HR. And I know we're going into the new year and everything. And my New Year's resolution, what are your resolutions for the new year? Mine is to not pick on Lois as much.
My New Year's resolution, honestly, is to treat people better and not get upset about things.
It's a very good resolution. It's a very good resolution. I was thinking what my resolution was going to be. And it's difficult because I'm perfect, you know, so it's tough to come up with something tangible that I can put my hands on that says, because I ask myself, man, like, how can you improve? I don't have it. I don't know.
I got to be honest. I think you're on point 100%.
Me, right? Right? Am I lying? I mean, right? You get it.
There's not one thing that you do that bothers me.
There it is. There it is. I mean, what are you going to do? My resolution is to maintain my awesomeness going through to the new year. I think that's a good one. I think it's very good.
I think that's a great one.
I do too. I like it. I like it for myself.
No complaints with that one.
For my family and the rest of the world. I like it. I like it. All right. Today, we're going to talk about the fight of the year, the knockout of the year, and quite honestly, most important, caller of the year. It is one of the most coveted titles that one can have, period. That's something you could put on a resume, Beeb.
I think so.
I think so, too. I would put it on a resume if I was caller of the year here.
I mean, if you're at the supermarket and you told the manager at the supermarket that you were caller of the year,
right,
you would never have to wait in line again.
Let me tell you what, if you can't pick up chicks with that title, there's something wrong with you.
I agree.
I mean, you know, you go out tonight, and you tell them, hey, baby, you know, I'm Ringside Reporter's caller of the year. You're taking that girl home.
Hey, baby.
That's it. It's done. It's done. That's the way it's going down. Nothing I can do about it. Let's kick it off, Beeb. Let's kick it off. The prospect of the year. My prospect of the year, Beeb. This is how we're living today. The prospect of the year. We're going to kick it off right here. My prospect of the year, Daniel Dubois. I think that he's 14-0 with 13 knockouts. Heavyweight from the UK. And, you know, quite honestly, man, they're doing a nice job with his development. I think they're keeping him on track. As long as he stays on track, he's going to be a big star, man. I think he's got the goods to go places in the heavyweight division. They're talking about him fighting Joe Joyce, which, listen, man, I don't hate because I think that's a very good stepping stone type of fight. But, you know, I think that I think he's the goods, man. A very close second would be Charles Conwell. I know that, you know, with his situation earlier in the year with Pat Day after his, after that fight with Pat Day, that's a tough one for him. We'll see how he rebounds. But, he's a really good prospect coming up. But, having something like that is very tough. to bounce back from, and it's just a tough situation, man. It really is. D Style Boxing, thank you so much. He said, Beeb, the personality of the decade. I almost said the decade. The personality of the decade. Resume is top notch. Love it. Love it.
I appreciate that very much.
Absolutely.
Very much. So, my prospect of the year, and I don't know if people would still consider this fighter a prospect, but I kind of do. Ryan Garcia.
It's tough to argue. Tough to argue with, man. He looked very good this year. He's improving, and I mean, he's one of those guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He has improved a lot.
Yeah, and that's a lot of people dump on that guy, but I tell you what, he's improved quite a bit. D Style says Virgil Ortiz, which was another one. Give me your thoughts. Run it down for Ryan Garcia, Beeb, and what do you expect from him from next year too?
Well, he's close to being ready possibly for a world title. Because he's got 19 fights. Usually when you get around that 20, 22 mark, that's when you start fighting for titles. But Virgil Ortiz, definitely, that's another. He's a close second. But again, it's this, Ryan Garcia started to step it up a little bit with competition, number one. And number two, he's shown us great improvements. He's shown us other facets to his game. Now, Virgil Ortiz is a great prospect as well. And Mauricio Herrera, that's a good win, D Style. You got a real strong argument for Virgil Ortiz as well.
Yeah, it's tough to argue that one too.
Yeah. So it's like 1A, 1B in my opinion.
Yeah.
Ryan Garcia, and then you got Virgil Ortiz.
Team Batman says Shakur Stevenson. Yeah, I think so too.
He's a world champion now.
Yeah. So I can't really call him a prospect, I guess. So, yeah. But Centurion Sun said Teofimo Lopez, and this is who we all picked last year as our prospect of the year, was Teofimo Lopez.
I don't think he's a prospect anymore.
I don't think so either. He's a bona fide world champ now, man. Getting ready to fight the big boys, Lomachenko, next April. So, yeah, that's a bona fide world champ. So we'll see what happens. If you guys got any opinions, you can call in. If you want to call in, feel free to call in 323-870-3857. And let's see here. So we got our prospect of the year. Let's go to our trainer of the year. This is a different one. I tell you what, this is a different kind of category, man, because I tell you what, I don't know about trainer of the year. Line of the year had to come from, was it Gamboa? Or not Gamboa. The one with the shank. Who's it? Gervonta Davis, his trainer.
Oh,
and he said, when I say penitentiary, you stick him. Just like a shank. He's like, you throw the hook just like a shank is rich.
Give him that penitentiary hook.
That penitentiary hook, that's what it was. He's like, when I say penitentiary, you hook him right in the ribs. Just like jam. That was the grace. Thank you, Florian Sigris. Thank you so much. He said, shout out to the best podcast in boxing. Happy New Year, guys. Cheers from Switzerland. Thank you so much, man. That means the world to us. My nomination for trainer of the year is going to be Eddie Reynoso, Canelo Alvarez's trainer.
That was my pick as well.
Listen, man, Canelo went up in weight and is considered by many to be the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Every time I see Canelo, he gets better. He develops. There's always some new wrinkle in his game. He's no longer a one-dimensional fighter. And a lot of people used to say, oh, well, he's stuck in cement. He's got bricks on his feet. Listen, man, that ain't the case anymore. That guy can move. That guy can bang. And when you saw him against Kovalev, his last fight against Kovalev, I tell you what, he took it to him. I mean, he was there to slug it out with him. He wasn't there to box. He was there to slug it out. And he ended up knocking a guy out. You know, I think it was in the 11th or something like that, or 10th or 11th or something around there. But
I think it was the 11th.
yeah, I think so. You know, but I tell you what, man, he's really developing like at a rapid pace now. Like every fight, ever since he fought Triple G that second time, you've seen like a rapid improvement. I mean, he's doing different things. So he's something else, man. What are your thoughts on him?
Well, what I've always said about Canelo Alvarez, and I've been critical of him throughout the years.
Yeah.
But one thing I did say that I have been seeing him do is he doesn't really doesn't have fast feet. But what he's doing now is he's anticipating movements from his opponents. So so in other words, he's be able to cut the ring off because he can read his opponent very well, and he reminds me of Ward in the way that he processes things. So he picks up on a fighter's movement, and then he starts beating him to the spot. He starts getting there, starting a little bit early and getting there before his opponent gets there. So you can't really improve. You can improve on foot speed moderately, but you can't. If you're not a fast guy, you're not going to be a fast guy on your feet. There's just no way around it.
Yeah.
I mean, you could try to work your fast twitch and do some exercises and do explosive movements and exercises and stuff like that. But the thing is, so he's able to anticipate what his opponent's going to do before he does it. Number one, and the upper body movement is incredible. He's become so instinctive in the ring. In other words, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
And that comes with experience, and also that comes with a determination and a willingness and a drive inside you to not get caught up in the headlines and say, hey, I'm a star, I don't have to do anything else. He always made a concerted effort, you can tell, to get better. And he always said, I'm still learning, I'm going to get better, I can do better. This guy is the face of boxing, and he's still talking like a prospect, in other words, about himself, which shows you that he's still hungry. So the timing, just the instincts now, the feints that he throws, he's actually picked up some Mayweather moves with the head movement and just kind of rolling and slipping shots. So his upper body movement is incredible. And his ability to fight on the inside, not just offensively, but defensively, and I talk about this several times, it's not just being able to gut it out and grind it out on the inside and out-muscle guys on the inside. It's also about body positioning, positioning yourself so you're not in the line of fire while you're getting your shots off. You got to put yourself in a position where you can attack and your opponent can't attack back. You got to make yourself a very compact and a discreet target. You don't want to be a sitting duck in there when you're in the pocket, especially with guys that are bigger than you. And Canelo fights guys that are bigger than him, so he should use the ability to make himself compact, make himself small to his advantage, and he's done that. So, from a technical standpoint, the guy, as you said, has really, really improved and continues to improve. And scary thing about it is, I don't think he's peaked yet. The only concern I have is the injuries now, because he's got the knee injury. I don't know the extent of that, so I hope it doesn't get worse over time. But boxing's a rough sport on the body, not just from getting hit by punches, but just from the wear and tear on the joints, the constant stopping and starting and the hard pivoting and always turning that wrist over. There's a lot of overuse injuries that can develop over the years. A lot of tendon and ligament injuries that can develop over the years from boxing. So, but I agree with you 100%. He has gotten better.
Yeah, and I think JC in the chat said too, and I saw this as well, that he can fight southpaw as well. I saw him in the gym. He was working on southpaw stuff and everything like that, and so that may be another wrinkle we see in the future too. When we think about like classic boxers, you think about like Juan Manuel Marquez, classic Mexican boxer, Juan Manuel Marquez, Finito Lopez, those kind of guys. Now, I wouldn't put Canelo in that class yet, but he's certainly inching toward that.
He's got the potential.
He's got the potential. Right. He's got the potential for it.
He's got the potential to get there.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. That's the thing. Centurion Sun said Kenny Porter also did a good job with Sean. He did, man. Listen, man.
Sean lost though.
He did. He did lose that fight.
I don't think anyone's got trainer of the year
Who lost the fight?
based off losses. Sorry.
Who's Chavez Jr.'s trainer? Is that Freddie Roach?
Yeah.
Give it to him. But he did. Kenny Porter came up with a really good game plan against Errol Spence. They did fall short. I don't know of anybody that thought Sean won the fight, but he did much better than we thought he would. Put it that way.
I don't think he won the fight.
I don't think he won the fight at all. I think it was Sebastian earlier on in the chat said that he didn't think that Ryan Garcia's he said that Ryan Garcia's past the prospect stage.
19 fights.
Maybe
he's close to Pat. He's right on the cusp.
Yeah.
Right on the cusp.
And my thing with Garcia, why I don't hate that, because my thing with Garcia is that I think that he's getting better. The fights I see him in now, when I watch him, he's getting better.
I was very critical of him, but I'm starting to see a little bit of confidence, a little bit more responsibility from the defensive end.
Yeah. Right. That's the biggest thing.
A lot more poise now. Starting to relax, starting to pace himself, not because he's fighting the 10-rounders. He knows he just can't lay it all out there early in the fight. So like I said, he's picking and choosing his spots and pacing himself a lot better now than he did earlier in his career. So that's a huge improvement in itself.
This is interesting because I didn't even have this as a category here. They said, let's see here. Lobitos Den Boxing says, how about Gennady Golovkin for Fighter of the Decade? I didn't have a Fighter of the Decade. I'm gonna have to think about that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll have to think about that.
Fighter of the Decade. I mean,
I've seen Pac-Man. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen some people said Pac-Man, some people said Floyd.
Fighter of the Decade, honestly.
But for what though? You know what I mean? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would maybe give it to Pac-Man because he had a resurgence.
Then he's still fighting.
And he's still fighting. Mayweather's not fighting, so
Jesus,
Mayweather stopped really fighting in 2015, so he hasn't even fought like Pacquiao actually.
Wait a minute.
I'm not gonna count that Conor McGregor fight as a fight.
No, I'm not either. But you got to count the tension fight, dude.
Well, Pacquiao consistently fought decent opposition, top-level opposition, the entire decade. He actually fought the whole decade. Mayweather only fought half the decade. So that's why I would give it to Pacquiao.
I will say this. The event of the decade had to be that Mayweather-McGregor fight. I don't think there's any question about that.
I would say Pacquiao-Mayweather was the event of the decade.
No, that was a terrible fight, man. That was terrible. I don't know, because I would.
No, you say event.
Event.
Meaning how would you?
Because I'll tell you. Well, I'll tell you why. Because you know what? We didn't even have time really to get ready for the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. It was like a couple months, and it was right here. The Mayweather-McGregor. They went on that tour. Remember, they went on that world tour or whatever, or that whatever they did. They went on that big tour. Talk trash to each other, and as soon as that fight were announced, everybody was like, come on. But as soon as you saw that first press conference, you were all in. And like,
it was a good promotion.
It was a great promotion. And where else would you have ever expected a guy from the UFC, a UFC champion, 2-belt champion, to be in a boxing ring with one of the best boxers to ever do it? You'd never expect that. And that fight went 10 rounds.
You know what's crazy? Dana White is seriously talking about Clarissa Shields and what's her name there? Amanda Nunes.
Amanda Nunes?
Yeah.
Listen, man, I know Clarissa's serious about it.
But I don't know if it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be boxing or if it's going to be MMA. I don't know.
Nunez already said she's not going to boxing.
And here's the thing. All these boxers that want to fight MMA fighters, it's not fair that the MMA people always have to cross over.
Right.
The boxers should have to cross over too.
Look what happened when James Toney crossed over.
Yeah. Well, what about Ray Mercer? Ray Mercer won. But
He knocked out Tim Silva, boy.
But I think they had like a silent. They had like an agreement that Sylvia couldn't kick. But did you see like when Sylvia kicked him, the look Ray Mercer gave him, like, what's going on here, buddy?
What are you doing?
You're not following the script here.
Eric Rose says, thank you so much, Ed. He says, Pac-Man is fighter of the decade. Thanks for the show. Yeah, I'll give it to him. You want to give it to him? We'll give it to him.
Hey, keep them super chats coming. This is the last day of the month, okay? So keep them super chats coming. If you love this show,
get them coming, boy.
Keep them coming. Whether it's it could be $1.50. Keep them coming. Everyone, I'm gonna ask everyone if they could at least give $1 in the chat.
Yeah.
You don't have to, but I'm just gonna ask respectfully.
It would be a nice thing to do.
Give $1. I mean, it's Christmas, holiday time, New Year's, last day of the year. Let it go out. Let us go out with the bang here with the super chats.
In style. That's right.
The person that can give us the highest super chat will get a free Ringside Reporter t-shirt.
Ho! Wow. Beeb just set it all out there on the line, baby. The Beeb just did that for you.
That's right there for you guys.
He is for the people.
I'm taking care of you guys.
Wow. That's awesome.
That's what I'm doing.
There it is. That's how the Beeb rolls. What you gonna do?
That's how I do a Big Willie style.
That's it. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let's go to upset of the year. This should be pretty easy. This is an easy one, man. I tell you what, I don't know if any of those you can take, man. I think even if Nonito Donaire upset Naoya Inoue, it still comes in second. Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua. Ruiz with a 7th round TKO over Anthony Joshua in a fight where he was selected past Big Baby Miller because Big Baby Miller failed a drug test. So they put Andy Ruiz in there. You got this guy who doesn't look like a boxer at all in there against this, against Adonis, basically. Looks like a superhero, 3rd round comes in, knocks Ruiz down. Ruiz gets back up, happens to clip him. Fight's going, man. Now we got to fight. Both guys go down. Had to be the round of the year, right? I mean, that was insane. Gets up, goes back to the corner, 7th. I mean, and he got dropped 4 times in that fight, Beeb. 4 times.
It's no joke.
No. Got dropped 4 times in there. And that's it, man. That's it. I mean, Andy Ruiz, the new heavyweight champion.
I honestly don't see how you can give it to anyone else.
No.
I just don't.
Like I said, even if Donaire beat Inoue, I still think he comes in second.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing else to say. That's it, man. I mean,
I agree.
So let's piggyback off of that and go to comeback fighter of the year. That one white boy, thank you so much. He said we need Farmer Davis ASAP, first-time listener. Oh, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, brother.
Let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about Farmer and Davis. Do you think that? I don't think that fight happens.
No.
I really don't. I wish it would. I think that's a good fight. That's the kind of thing. This is where Tank's promotion kind of misses the boat. That right there, that's a tailor-made fight for Tank. Because I don't think Farmer beats Tank. I just don't. I think Tank's too strong. I think Tank can box. But, you got to wonder, does Tank come in shape? But quite honestly, that's a winnable fight for him. It's a good fight for him.
I don't think Tank can make 130 anymore, though.
Tank. Well, he was talking about that the other day. He was like, well, I'll go down to 130. No, you won't.
Stupid.
There's no way you're going back down to 130, son.
It's a real bad move if he does.
He couldn't make 130. Listen, Tank couldn't make 130 when he was at 130. Yeah. He couldn't make 135 at his first fight at 135. He got on a scale of a pound and a half over.
Yeah,
listen, ultimately he made weight. I get it. But listen, when you got to go back for an hour, listen, dropping a pound in an hour after you've already sweated down, that ain't easy.
You got to do an hour of cardio to do that.
Yeah.
When I go on those walks, they take me an hour and a half. I drop 2 pounds by walking an hour and a half. So for them to lose a pound in an hour or less, they got to be going on a treadmill and they got to be going hard, because I'm walking at a leisurely pace, and it's taking me an hour and a half to lose 2 pounds. From walking. Okay, so if they have an hour to make weight, so by the time they get to where they gotta go, the hour starts the minute they leave the stage, right? So they're probably doing like 50 minutes or 45 minutes of cardio, right, on a treadmill somewhere. They're probably putting that thing on like 10, because
at least,
and that's you're exerting a lot of energy doing that. So.
And
it's not something you want to do the day before the fight. Hours, like 16 hours before the fight or whatever it is.
And that one white boy says that Farmer beats Tank. And listen, hey, that's a possibility too. I think Tank wins that fight, but it's not like Farmer doesn't have a shot there.
I was listening to an interview that Tank did with Radio Raheem, and Radio Raheem makes me laugh too. No disrespect, but
why did he? I don't understand why he took the name from, like, he was in the Spike Lee movie or something like that. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
What I mean?
It's kind of stupid, but anyway,
it's kind of silly. Use your real name, son.
Use your real name. Kind of corny. That'd be like me calling myself Eddie Murphy. But but here's the thing, right? Tank said that my next fight's going to be on pay-per-view. I was told my next fight's on pay-per-view. Radio Raheem said, yeah, I heard your next fight's on pay-per-view. So for him to be on pay-per-view in his next fight, I have a feeling it's going to be Leo Santa Cruz. Because you got to have the right opponent. You just can't fight anyone and be on pay-per-view. You couldn't fight Gamboa and be on pay-per-view. It wouldn't have worked. So, again, you have Leo Santa Cruz, who's got the Mexican background, and usually Mexican fighters do great. They really do great pay-per-view numbers, like Mikey Garcia, Errol Spence. Those were good numbers. Yeah. Right.
And what was it? Santa Cruz's last fight was at 130, but really,
no, it was at 135. I thought, wasn't it?
Was it 135?
No, 130. I apologize. It was at 130.
It was at 130, but did he make the move to 130? You know what I mean? There's one thing having a fight at 130, and there's one thing making the move. Did he vacate his titles? I don't know.
Well, the thing is this too, though. If the fight's at 130,
because that's 2 weight divisions up.
Yeah, if the fight's at 130, Santa Cruz has a great chance to win the fight.
He's very legit at that weight. Yeah.
It's at 135, then that's an uphill battle for him.
Yeah, that's not a good.
But even then, like Tank was huffing and puffing against Gamboa. Now, I would like to think that he'd be ready for a Santa Cruz, and he would have a top-notch training camp, and maybe he learned from this one. But I don't know. The guy's been so inconsistent over the years, and I know I said in the last show that I'm sure if he has that fear in him, that he'll prepare better. I would assume. I think there would be more of a sense of urgency in these training camps to get in the best shape possible. But is Santa Cruz that guy that will put that fear in him? I don't know.
Yeah.
He could be saying to himself, I'm the bigger man, I'm the harder puncher, and I can overpower this guy, I can blow this guy out. I don't know. So.
But 2 weight classes coming up, 2 weight classes, that's a big deal. It's
a big jump.
That's a huge deal.
It's a big jump.
And listen, man, I don't want to see that. You know what I mean? Fight a legitimate guy at your weight, man.
If I'm going to see that fight, I
want it at 130.
Yeah. It should be at 130.
Make him cut that weight.
I'm gonna want to see the best Tank too, though. I don't want to see a generic version of Tank. That's not. I don't want to see the version of Tank that I saw against Gamboa against Santa Cruz, because that's not gonna cut it.
Right. Let's talk about He says that Tank got exposed by a 38-year-old Gamboa with a torn Achilles. I don't know if he got exposed per se, but I will tell you, he did not look great in that fight.
Well,
He got touched up. I mean, he was getting hit.
What did come to light was that Tank's got a serious issue with his training camps, because that's one thing that we can definitely say. So that's. So in other words, his ability to have a good training camp consistently has been exposed, because I don't think he's had consistent good training camps, and that's an issue.
Yeah, and I don't get it. I mean, he's got listen, he can afford world-class trainers, nutritionists, and everything like that, and all that other stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Lobito's Den Boxing, thank you so much. He says, I remember when Biebs was wearing those tight T-shirts and he was looking like Chipo Reynoso. Look at that, Biebs. Showing off the guns, man. What are you gonna do?
I'm really not wearing tight shirts. I mean, I'm just outgrowing these shirts.
Filling them out. He's not tight. He was filling them out. They were loose.
When you got
stop! Don't show everybody. It's a family show.
When you got pipes like this, I mean,
that's insane, man. That's.
You got the tries. You got the tries coming in now too.
Oh,
I mean,
my goodness! Look at that.
It's dangerous. That's like the triple threat. You got the try and the buy. I mean, come on.
Striations everywhere. That's insane.
50 years old. This should be illegal.
That's illegal. If it was in a bottle, let me tell you what, people, if it was in a bottle, everybody would be drinking it. I'll tell you that right now.
I'm passing every single drug test I've been taking.
You've been taking a lot of drug tests?
You never know, man. I got Vada coming down here every other day, man.
Vada coming to your house.
I got Vada coming down here.
I got Vada coming down there.
Doing a show, guys. Not right now, please. What do you want me to do?
Just have him sit on the couch, and then just you can give a specimen afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do?
I
can't piss anymore. I'm trying to drink as many Coke Zeros as I can. I'm still not pissing right now.
I like the Coke Zero. You like the Coke Zero?
Yeah, I have to get the caffeine-free ones because I take like supplements for caffeine in them, so I don't want to overdose the caffeine. But I buy the.
You take supplements for caffeine?
I take like 100 milligram caffeine tablets like before I go to the gym and stuff.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And
like a fat burner kind of thing.
I use it for energy mostly. I like to get that jolt before I go to the gym.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't like to take more than like 400 milligrams. I usually take like 300 milligrams of caffeine spread out over the course of the day. But I don't. The limit. My top end will be 400 because after that, it's not really good for you.
Right. All right.
But yeah.
All right. So let's talk about this, man. Next category. Comeback Fighter of the Year.
Oh, this is easy.
This is another easy one. These two kind of went. I tell you what, this is funny that they just went hand in hand.
And I'm curious to see if you're going to say the same guy that I'm going to say.
Well, maybe not. Anthony Joshua is my Comeback Fighter of the Year. Listen, Anthony Joshua, after being knocked out by Andy Ruiz, Joshua was counted out by virtually everyone. People were saying his career was over. He doesn't have a chin, blah, blah, blah. And I'll tell you what, man, it was great to see him come back and regain the title against Ruiz in their rematch. Not only did he beat Ruiz, he beat him so bad that a rematch isn't even warranted. It's not even warranted. You know, everybody, I mean, I would say it was about a good 60-40. People saying Ruiz was going to win that rematch and that Joshua didn't have it anymore, this and that. But I'll tell you what, man, I think that Joshua still got a lot left. I think he proved it was a bad night, still has a lot left. And he came out and boxed him, something nobody really expected him to do. You know, he showed a new wrinkle. He showed that jab. He showed the movement and just made Ruiz look like a fool. Now, let's couple that with Ruiz having the Buster Douglas syndrome, coming in, 15 pounds heavier. What was he at, 280? What was he at, 283 or something? 283, wasn't it, babe?
283. It was redonkulous.
I've never seen that before.
Did you see?
He could have been on like one of those TLC shows, you know, about the 600-pound dudes and stuff like that. 283, son. It was insane.
Did you see me during that weigh-in show? I went back and watched.
Best. I laughed so hard when I saw that.
I went back. There's two videos that I love to go back and watch and just look at my face, just my expressions. The one when that video I made with our reaction to the Ruiz Joshua knockout, when I looked at my face and I just went like that looked like it looked like I was actually going down, like when you're on a roller coaster ride and you're on the top and you're going down.
Yeah,
that was like the face I had like when that knockdown happened.
Yeah.
But then when I went back and watched my face during that, like, and I was like my eyes like went like I thought the scale was broke. I thought it was a mistake.
The best was I'm watching that, and then you say, yeah, Joshua weighed in at blah blah blah, and he was like, yeah, he looks too lean or something like that. And then Ruiz got on the scale and he was like, is that a mistake?
Then I said, he's probably playing head games with him. He's probably got some shit. He's probably got some shit on underneath that shirt or something. He's got stuff in his pockets.
Nothing on, son. He looked like a walrus coming in there, son.
No, it was bad.
That was bad.
It was really bad.
Why would you not give yourself the best chance to win, man? And they said he lost weight during training camp. That was the crazy part. Where he was he was losing weight. And then he just went on a bender. He just started eating tacos or something. I was like, "What are you doing, man?"
Once again, and this is just my opinion. I'm not a doctor, and I don't pretend to blame one on TV. But I think he dieted too hard because he lost a lot of weight very quickly. If you remember,
yeah,
right. And I think he dieted too hard. They showed him pictures of eating, like, once again, the salmon, the chicken.
Yeah,
eat reasonable meals, but just control your fucking calories. You could still have a Snickers bar worked into your diet, but just don't have 10. You know what I'm saying? Don't overeat. Don't overeat, because when your diet is too strict, I've been there, I've done it. I've wiped out many of Chinese buffets in my day. Wiped them out. I'll go there right when they lay it out there. When the lunch rush starts, they lay it out there. I'll go up like 3 times, and they have to replenish it in less than 20 minutes. That's not right. It's inhuman.
They have to replenish in 20 minutes.
It's inhuman. That's after that. Those are those are coming off of those crazy restrictive depletion diets.
Yeah,
they suck.
Why? I mean, he's a heavyweight champion of the world. He just bought a new house and everything. Why not just get a nutritionist?
Get all the nutritionists in the world, right? But the nutritionist can't follow you around all day.
Yeah.
And you can't, when you go home at night and when you wake up in the middle of the night and you go downstairs at 3 a.m, that nutritionist is nowhere near you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
I've done that before too. Woke up at 2 a.m. and went in the freezer, pulled out a nice freaking pint of Haagen-Dazs and smashed that down. Shit happens.
We've all been there, buddy.
All been there.
So who's your comeback fighter of the year?
Well, mine's not Joshua, and I'll tell you, I have an interesting take on this. Mine's Jean Pascal.
That's what Reese Mack said. Reese Mack, his comeback fighter candidate was John Pascal too.
2000.
I can't argue. You know what? I'll tell you right now. I can't argue with it. 2016,
he loses to Kovalev in a big fight.
Yeah.
Everyone wrote him off then. Then he loses in 2017 to Alito Alvarez. Then in 2018, he loses to Dimitri Bivol. So he fought 2 guys that are pretty close to the level of those fighters he lost to.
He's the gatekeeper at that point.
Yeah.
Right?
He went in there as a gatekeeper role in both fights. He was a 3-1 underdog in both fights. Right?
Yeah.
And he put on 2 great performances. So he's my comeback fighter of the year.
Listen, man, I tell you what, and I can't argue with that one bit. Not one bit. Because his career, like I said, man, was all on life support. I mean, once he gets smashed by Marcus Brown, that's it for him. They're sending him out to pasture. There's no way he's going to beat Marcus Brown.
There was no way we thought he was going to beat. We wrote him off heavily in that fight.
Yes.
Heavily.
There's no way he's beating Marcus Brown.
We didn't see him
None.
winning. We had no inkling of him. We did not believe he was going to win that fight.
Beat him.
And he
Knocked
beat
him out.
We didn't think he
Knocked
was
him out. It was
we didn't think-
emphatic.
We did not think he was going to win that fight.
And then he comes back and fights Badu Jack, who's not a pushover.
I picked him to beat Jack.
I picked Jack to beat him.
I picked him to beat Jack, but I wasn't 100% confident on it.
I think just you and Corey Lee picked him. I don't know.
And
think
like I
it's
told
different
you,
times,
the dude on Facebook that I talked to all the time, he asked me who I liked, and when I told him I picked Pascal, he was like, "Really?" with three question marks.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
surprised. He was surprised.
Yeah.
I don't think he thought Pascal was going to win either. Did any of you guys in the chat think Pascal was going to beat Jack? I picked him, but I sure as hell didn't think he was going to beat Braun. I'll tell you that.
No, I sure didn't. Pascal is Canadian Fighter of the Year, says Tommy Boxeo. Man, that guy might be Canadian Fighter of the Decade. I don't know. I mean, who's a better Canadian than that guy, right?
Well, you can argue that Pascal would be in the top, at least the top 3 for Fighter of the Year.
So who's the best Canadian fighter of all time? Tommy
geez.
Boxeo. Who's the best Canadian fighter of all time?
Not Lucien Butte.
No.
Who would it be?
Gotta say Pascal, right?
'Cause
Pascal or
Pascal-
what's his face? Stevenson.
Stevenson.
Adonis.
I would argue Adonis Stevenson's probably the best Canadian fighter of all time.
Yeah.
I would say.
Boxeo says Pascal's got his vote. All right, so this. I tell you what, I think you and I will agree on this next category. Lobito's Den Boxing says robbery of the year. I don't think there's any question. Kid Galahad and Josh Warrington.
That was disgusting.
Biggest robbery of the year. That could be the robbery of the decade, man, because
that was painful.
awful.
That was
Awful.
That was immensely painful to watch.
And I tell you what, and I credit you. I really give you a lot of credit for this, man, because I wasn't interested in that fight at all until I heard you talk about it.
I loved that fight.
Until I heard you talk about it. And I'm like, I got to see what's going on with this, you know? And then we got the live cast or whatever, we're watching the fight and everything. And I'm like, man, I expected Warrington. I really paid attention. So I expected Warrington to really just kind of walk through this guy because Warrington's walking through everybody, you know? And man, Galahad took him to school, son.
And I picked Warrington in that fight too.
Galahad took him to school. It was hard to give Warrington rounds in that fight. That's how bad it was. It was hard to give him rounds.
They made that video with all the YouTubers who thought
you were on that. Yeah, you were
I was
on that.
And they made a point when they made that video to state that I picked, like, they when I made that my opening statement during the live cast, right? I said I'm picking Warrington to win this fight. This reminds me of Marco Antonio Barrera versus Prince Nassim Hamed, and I thought Warrington would beat Marco Antonio Barrera, and then Kid Galahad would be Prince Nassim Hamed. That's the way I saw the fight, right? And they made sure that they put that at the beginning of the video, to show that I was picking Warrington, and even in picking Warrington, I wasn't biased at all towards Warrington. I had Galahad winning that fight because I scored it objectively.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think so too, man. That was one of the worst robberies I had ever seen. In the fact that he didn't get an immediate rematch, the fact that Warrington's going to fight somebody else, I mean, like, come on, man.
I scored that fight 116 to 112 for Kid Galahad.
And I think you were probably being generous.
And I could have easily scored it like 117 or 111.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It was hard fighting rounds. It was hard fighting rounds, man.
I was trying too hard to be objective. Maybe I gave a swing round to get to Warrington where I could have given it to Galahad.
Yeah. Lobito's Den says Charlo versus Korobov. That's another one too, but not to this level, man. This was pretty I mean, you could make a case for Charlo. I couldn't make a case for Warrington, man. And I like Warrington. I picked him. I like him.
Would you say that the Sergey Kovalev, the Gennady Golovkin Sergey Derevyanchenko fight was a robbery? I had a hard time seeing Golovkin It was close though, huh? It
No,
was too
because
close.
it's close enough.
was
You
close
know,
enough,
listen,
right?
man. When it's 115, 113 or something, you know what I mean. When you're talking like 7-5,
So
no, man.
a
This
legitimate
was like
argument,
this was like a 7. What was it? You know, it could be a 8.
this could have
was
been a 9. This could have been
9-3.
a 9-3 fight. Yeah.
It could have been a 9-3 fight.
I went out of my way to make it an 8-4 fight. I was trying too hard to give Warrington rounds, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, man, that could have been a 9-3 fight. That's a robbery. You know, there's a difference when fights are close. Just like the Pascal and Badou Jack fight. People were saying that Jack got robbed and stuff like that. Listen, man, nobody got robbed in that fight. It was just a close fight. Judges saw it one way.
A lot of people went hard on Pascal thinking that he lost that fight. I had it a draw. I had that freaking fight a draw.
I remember, man, Pascal won a lot of those early rounds. Jack's a slow starter.
Yeah.
You know? He's a slow starter. So, you know, it is what it is. But, Reese Mack says that Kid Galahad is scheduled to face Claudio Marrero in February. And we'll definitely be watching that one, man. But why he didn't get an immediate rematch is just a crime.
It's
Just an
horrible, isn't it?
absolute crime.
Fucking horrible.
What do you do if you're Kid Galahad's people now? I mean, you just go back to the drawing board and then try to regroup and get a title shot or whatever. But he didn't get anything out of that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like with a robbery like that.
Why wasn't an immediate rematch? Warrington?
I mean, why though? Like, I don't understand. Yeah, you're right. Why? I don't understand why there wasn't an immediate rematch. But who's handling Kid Galahad though? That they didn't capitalize off that opportunity and get a title shot somewhere else. Who's promoting that kid?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That's a good point. I mean,
Like, they should have really capitalized. I mean, he put up a crazy fight, and everybody thought he won.
that was
I thought he won.
that was a beautiful performance.
It was. And so what do? So now he's fighting Claudio Marrero. He's not fighting for like any titles. You didn't parlay that into anything?
Yeah, it's
dude,
crazy.
who's managing this guy?
I know it's true, but here's the thing too: is because number one, I didn't expect him to be able to do that, and number two, this may sound a little bit outlandish to some, and maybe I'm being over dramatic because I tend to do that sometimes. But that was some of the best boxing I've seen in a long time.
It absolutely was.
I'm not even kidding.
No.
That was like a textbook performance. Like that
couldn't get any better, man.
That performance was virtually flawless against a guy like Warrington. That's
against Warrington. That's the other thing. It was against Warrington.
That's
not
what
some
made
scrub.
That's what made it even more impressive.
Right. That's the thing.
That's what made it even more impressive, in my opinion. The guy he was in there with.
Yeah. But, you know, I keep going back. I would, listen, man, I was always real critical of Hank Lundy, his management team, not the fighter. I was always real critical of his management team, his promotion, because if you talk to that guy for 30 seconds, you know he's a star. He's a star.
He is a star.
And they mishandled that guy. And, like, man, that guy really should have been in the limelight. He really should have been. And this guy, too, Galahad, man, I mean, he's like, they're keeping him over in London. They're keeping him over wherever. And it's like, you guys, man, like, this guy is a star. You're not seeing it. And they should have taken this loss, parlayed this into gold. They could have spun this thing into gold for him. They didn't. And that's on his management. That's not on him. That's on his management. Nobody else. That's why it's difficult. You see fighters coming out of the amateurs, and you say, wow, this guy's going to be something, and maybe he doesn't make it to the Olympics, but you see him in an amateur show, or you see a pro coming up on an undercard or something like that, and you're like, man, that guy's going to be good. Man, listen, it ain't just about skills.
Well,
it's not just about winning your fights, man.
But here's the thing, Eric, because I've interviewed Lou DiBella on several occasions, and a lot of people were critical of Lou DiBella, saying he was a bad promoter because he couldn't, because Sergio Martinez at the time was, I think, not the number 2 or 3 best pound for pound fighter in the world, and he couldn't, and Sergio Martinez would be fighting Kelly Pavlik, he was fighting Paul Williams. He was always the B side, even when he was the champion. You know what I mean? He was always the B side, and people were criticizing Lou DiBella, but Lou DiBella came out and said, leverage rules everything in boxing. So if you don't have leverage, if you don't have a big time management team behind you, or if you're going up against, if you're a smaller promoter going up against someone like Matchroom, going up against someone like PBC, going up against someone like Bob Arum, I mean, what can you do? If you don't have the pull, then you're not. Then you're going to get frozen out. They're gonna freeze you out. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some research, and if anyone can help me in the chat, like who promotes Galahad?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be interested to know. I'd be interested in that because again, man, that guy was he was sick in that fight, man. I mean, that was some of the best boxing you're ever gonna see.
It was great boxing.
Technical stuff, man.
That was really good boxing.
You couldn't lay a hand on that guy. You know? So and there was a big backlash after that fight about no, he didn't win. Warrington won. Listen, man, if you had Warrington winning that fight, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. And there was these fanboys in the chat. They were all saying, "Oh, Warrington won the fight." Right?
Listen, you got to watch the fight subject. You can't have a guy. You can't ride with a guy going in.
And I picked
it's just
them.
That you can't watch fights like that.
And I picked Warrington.
I did too. I had Warrington by like demolition, man.
I picked him.
Yeah. So that's the crazy part, man. All right, let's get to another topic, man. This is a big one. Beeb. The one everybody wants to hear. Train wreck of the year. I love it. I love it. You know, Beeb, nothing's better than a good train wreck. I'll tell you that.
This was easy.
Adrian Broner
That's it.
is not my train wreck of the year. However, Adrian Broner gets the customary award because it is the Adrian Broner train wreck of the week.
Consolation prize.
You know, Adrian Broner at one point this year got it 3 times in a row. 3 weeks in a row. I want you to think about that. Some fighters get it once. Some fighters even lucky enough to get it twice or unlucky enough to get it twice, no matter how you look at it. Adrian Broner got this thing like 3 weeks in a row. And that's like old hat for him. This is not the first time that's happened. Not a first time it's happened. 3 weeks in a row for doing stupid. When he goes on benders, he goes on epic benders. All right? However, my train wreck of the year goes to none other than Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
I knew you were going to give it to him.
This guy.
It's your favorite fighter?
He is. He's the man. I got a pair of gloves, the green gloves.
Trade him in.
This moron. Trade him in. I know I should trade him in.
The red Everlast.
Yeah, I know I should.
Get rid of them.
They're Cleto, though. I like them.
They are nice gloves.
They are. They're great, man.
They're really nice. They're punches gloves, too.
Yeah, absolutely, man. This moron, before the Jacobs fight, refused to give a sample to VADA because he says that the VADA guy came in and didn't show ID. First of all, I find it hard to believe that the guy from VADA did not show any ID. Who walks around, even if he didn't show ID, Beep, who walks around with urine cups, collecting samples from random people?
That would be like the Domino's pizza guy delivering a pizza to your house. He's got the T-shirt on. He's got the hat on. He's got the bag with the pizzas in it. I want to see your ID that you work for Domino's. Call your boss right now. I don't believe that you're the Domino's pizza guy. Everyone walks around with 10 pizzas in their bag, and
sure,
then they're gonna deliver them to our house.
Right.
So,
you know, the guy who delivers Chinese food to us, he doesn't have a shirt signifying that he's from the restaurant, but he has a bag with food in it that says, "Hey, I've got chicken lo mein or whatever you're going to order. I've got this." Wait a minute, you don't have anything to signify you're from the restaurant. How do I know? What are you, a moron? You know you're going to get tested by VADA, son. Some guy shows up with a cup for you to pee in. No, because fans are just breaking down the door wanting you to pee in a cup for them. Come on, son.
Stupid.
What are you, stupid?
It was so stupid.
Then he forces a venue change from Las Vegas to Arizona because Las Vegas says, you know what, you ain't fighting here. So now he forces a venue change to Arizona. After all that, because, people pay tickets and people are making plans. So he changes the venue to Arizona.
Ridiculous.
All right, whatever. Then he comes in overweight. Not just a half a pound, not just 1 pound. What was it? 173 was the weight?
5 pounds he came in.
Came in 5 pounds overweight.
5 freaking pounds.
What are you doing, son? How do you come in 5 pounds overweight?
Why don't he just fight at light heavyweight? I don't understand why he just doesn't fight at light heavyweight.
Why are you fighting at all? Why? I mean, you know what I mean? Go to some tough man contest where they don't have a weight limit. I don't understand.
And he knows he can't make super middleweight anymore. He knows.
No.
He knows.
After the fight, he gets pelted with trash because he quit during the fight. And I'm not saying, he said he didn't want to fight. He was injured. He said he was injured, so I got to take him at his word.
Yeah.
He said his hand was injured. Then he said his nose was injured. And then his foot was injured. I don't know. Wasn't his hand, his nose, and his foot? Wasn't it? It was something. Listen, something was injured.
He was ready for a body cast. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. He didn't know what was hurt, but something was hurt.
Yeah.
And then he, on Instagram later on, he made it a point to, take a picture of him in the hospital just to let you know that there was something wrong with him. You know what I mean?
Did you hear what Freddie Roach said in the corner?
I don't know what he said. I thought when he came back to the corner, he says, "Come on, you don't want to do this."
That's exactly what
Is that
said.
what he said?
He said, "Don't do it." He goes, "Come on, don't do this."
Yeah, that's what I thought he said.
That's exactly what he said. So he didn't believe him.
Nobody believed him. Of course he didn't believe him. And then when they asked Freddie, he said, yeah, you hurt his hand or he hurt his nose or something like that. And then Chavez Jr. said he hurt his nose, then it was his leg. I don't know.
Was his nose broken?
Who knows?
No, because when you break your nose, though, listen, you get those 2 black things under your eyes. Because I broke my nose before, and you get you get the raccoon eyes.
Yeah. How do we know he didn't get that from a coke bender? I don't know. I
No,
don't
but
know. I don't remember seeing the black eyes. I don't.
No, he didn't have the
remember
black eyes. He didn't have
Yeah.
the raccoon eyes.
that. Yeah. So there you go.
That's embarrassing too, walking around with those fucking eyes for like a week or 2. Oh, it's so embarrassing. Oh,
The best part after he quits the fight and gets pelted with trash, then he claims after the fight that Danny Jacobs is a dirty fighter and wants to fight him again.
oh, stop.
You just had him. I don't understand. You just had him. What? I don't understand.
It's so embarrassing, isn't it?
It's terrible. And his dad, his poor father. I think the best part of the fight was when, exactly. You just saw Julio he just why me?
How embarrassing was that?
He's going to adopt Canelo. He's going to adopt Canelo is what he's going to have to do. I mean, listen, here's the deal, though. Here's the deal, is that in fairness to Chavez Jr., and I've said this before, it's very difficult to follow in a guy like that's footstep, Chavez Sr. If you're a boxer and you're going to go into that sport, it's very difficult to follow in his footsteps. It's you know what? It's almost impossible. It's almost impossible to follow in his footsteps. He was the greatest, considered by most to be the greatest boxer in Mexican history. He was a combination of like Michael Jordan and whoever round up into one over there.
My favorite Mexican fighter is Mark. I like Marquez, but I mean, obviously Chavez is. Most people are gonna say Chavez, but I just love how Marquez fights. I just love his style. I love his style. I like counter punches.
I like Marquez and I like Chavez and I like Ricardo Lopez. Ricardo Lopez might be my favorite fighter.
You like Ricardo Lopez a lot, yeah.
Yeah, he's probably my favorite.
Isn't that your dad's favorite fighter too?
I think his was Salvador Sanchez.
Salvador Sanchez, okay.
Yeah, I think if Dad had to pick one, it would have been Salvador Sanchez.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's pretty much my train wreck of the year, all wrapped into one, man. Because I tell you what, it was just embarrassing to watch, and you felt embarrassed for him. Andy Ruiz really could have been a close second. I mean, he really could have been. Broner's done so much dumb stuff all through the year that you just kind of,
I'm gonna stick with Broner, and I'll tell you why. Because Broner did things to hurt other people.
Yeah.
These guys did things to hurt themselves.
Yeah.
So Broner hurt himself as well as hurting others. So
Yeah, I think that's right. But yeah, somebody out there said whatchamacallit, Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz for sure could have got the train wreck of the year. Just based on the fact that he came in 15. I mean, it was almost like we were watching Buster Douglas again. You know, where he does like the impossible, knocks this guy out that nobody thought he was going to knock out, and comes back in 15 pounds heavier. When he got on that scale, you just kind of like, what? You know?
It was disgrace.
What are you doing, man?
Freaking disgrace.
And you're like, well, you know, and a lot of people said, well, the weight won't matter, this and that. Listen, man, the weight, absolutely. There's got to be, listen, he's a big guy and he's a big puncher, and it served him well in the first fight, but there's got to be a point of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you're getting too heavy, where it's going to compromise your movement, it's going to compromise your speed. And in that fight, nobody thought Anthony Joshua was going to be faster, and he was. He was faster with his hands. He was definitely faster on his feet, because that's what I said. That's what I said coming in. I said he's definitely going to be faster on his feet than Ruiz was. You know, I didn't think his hands would be faster. His hands were faster, but I didn't think that was going to be the case. But yeah, man, I think that, you know.
It was hard for Ruiz to even show hand speed in the second fight because he couldn't get close. His feet, his feet couldn't get him in position. So
yeah, it was terrible, man. And you know, the stamina. I mean, Ruiz can go, and he didn't look like he had the stamina in that second fight. You know,
he didn't want the fight.
No. Some people, you know, it's funny, man. I think some people like sabotage themselves. It's self-sabotage, you know, in the sense that like they got it and that, you know, they've already gotten there, you know, and maybe he sabotaged himself, man. I don't know.
It's disgrace.
I don't know. I don't know what, you know, some people, you know, like I said, I mean, well, are they scared? Are they, you know, whatever? I can't answer that, man. But you just know that happens.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy part.
It's a shame, isn't it?
It is. Because think about it. He beats Joshua again. It sets up the Wilder fight. How many millions is that?
I know. That's true.
And he's going to be the A side into that fight.
That's true.
Got all those belts. Got 2 wins over Anthony Joshua.
Yep.
He's got to be the A side, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And it didn't matter because he was going to get stripped of some of those belts. Didn't matter. Everybody knows who the world champion is, you know? So what do you...
I think the WBO is going to strip Joshua, they're saying.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to. Yeah, he's got 2 mandatories, and he's going to fight Pulev next.
Why would they even schedule 2 mandatories like that, like the same time?
Who knows? So they can split up those belts and give like, you know.
I just don't get it.
I don't either.
And I never will.
Mario Kart wants to know the train wreck of the decade has to be Adrian Bronner. He's had more train wrecks of the week than anyone ever. It is actually called the Adrian Bronner train wreck of the week. So the train wreck of the decade, the train wreck of the millennium. I can even give you the prediction for next year is going to be Adrian Bronner. Okay. Yeah, it's he's nuts, man. He's nuts. And then he's indicted now. You know, he's indicted with the charges and everything. He just got a sexual assault case against him. He had to pay what, 800-some thousand?
800,000.
Yeah, good luck, man. That ain't chump change. I don't care who you are. That's a lot of money.
Disgrace.
A lot of money.
That's a disgrace.
All right, let's go to the knockout of the year. The knockout of the year here. I tell you what, man, there was a lot of good knockouts here. Inoue had some good knockouts, or Inoue had a good knockout. But I tell you what, man, the knockout of the year for me is probably from the biggest puncher in the heavyweight division. Now, is he the biggest puncher of all time in the heavyweight division, man? Listen, man, I don't know. I think it's up for debate. Didn't think so, but I think it is definitely up for debate. That guy can hit you with one hand, that right hand, and it's over with, man. There's no 2 ways about it. No 2 ways about it. Deontay Wilder versus Louis Ortiz in the rematch. 7th round knockout by Wilder. He hit him at the end of the round in a fight that he was losing every round. Even on the scorecard, he was losing every round. And hit him with a right hand that when I first saw it, I saw him collapse and I said, you know what? He ain't even getting up.
Nope.
He ain't even getting. And you saw the slow-mo, and it was even worse than what you thought it was.
It was bad.
I mean, it was just one shot, and that was it. I mean, he just crumpled. I mean, it was ridiculous, man. It was ridiculous. And that was a fight. And that's the Wilder thing, man. He's always fighting. He's always losing the fight, and he somehow
pulls a rabbit out of the hat.
Pulls it out. Yeah. What about you?
I thought the one versus Brazil was a little bit more impressive.
I can't hate on that.
To be honest with you. I'm gonna pick that one.
I can't hate on that either, man. How about knockouts of the year? It's 2 different Wilder fights.
Yeah. That's true.
It is.
Most people are saying that, yeah.
William Phillips says, caller of the year, Jason. He's the most unbiased caller. He's the most unbiased caller. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He definitely has his fans.
Yeah.
Fanboy Killer says that Dortico's KO and Tabiti is the KO of the year candidate for sure.
It's a lot of new people in the chat today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you guys. I think
absolutely, man.
William Phillips seems like a new guy. Though that one white boy.
He's new.
He's a new guy.
Yeah.
Who else?
Mario Kart, isn't he new? Mario
Kart's new. Yeah. Fanboy Killer's new.
There it
A
is.
lot of new people in the chat. I'm very happy and impressed to see that.
There it is.
Thank you guys.
All right, let's go with fight of the year. We're going to go with fight of the year, followed by fighter of the year, and then we'll go to caller of the year. Fight of the year for me was Naoya Inoue versus Nonito Donaire. Took place in Japan for the finals of the World Boxing Super Series. I tell you what, this was my fight of the year for a variety of reasons. First of which is, of course, is the fight itself. The fact that it was on at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Thursday, you're getting up to go to work and you get to watch this as you're getting up, it just starts your day off right. You know what I mean? With a fight like this. And not to mention the fact that it was a good fight. This was supposed to be a blowout. No way that Donaire was even going to be real competitive in this. Inoue's knocking everybody out on the way to the finals. And for him to get rocked, for him to get hurt, for him to get in and show what he's got, and to show what he's got the heart of a lion, man. For him to come back, and the scores were wide. Scores were a little bit wide. But, man, don't let it fool you, man. These guys went at it. And this was an all-out fight, an all-out action fight. And somebody had said that Nonito Donaire should get the comeback of the year. Listen, he did lose. But he definitely showed that he had a lot more to tank than anybody thought he had.
Yeah.
Great fight. What about you?
I liked Vosdick versus Better Beef.
Yeah, that was a good fight.
That was a very entertaining
Very good fight.
I think that's flying under a lot of people's radar.
Yeah.
But Vosdick was up in the fight. The fight had a lot of ebb and flow to it. Had a lot of twists and turns. There were points in the fight where he was saying Vosdick is taking Better Beef to school, and then Better Beef would come right back, and you would turn around and say Better Beef's imposing his will on Vosdick. He's taking a lot of the wind out of the sails, and Better Beef was down on the cards, and he knocked out Vosdick. Came back and knocked out Vosdick. So
yeah,
it was a very, very entertaining fight, I thought.
It was.
And once again, too, you have the two best light heavyweights, in the division. So when you have number 1 and 2 fighting a lot of times the expectations are so high that usually there's a letdown. There wasn't a letdown on that fight. That was a very entertaining fight, and I think it lived up to the expectations and the hype.
Yeah, I think so too. That was a good fight.
Yeah.
One that flies under the radar. Did you hear, speaking of good fights, that Usyk in March 7th or 22nd, they're trying to find the date here, but Usyk is going to fight Derek Chisora in the UK?
I did not hear that fight was done, but I knew
It's not done. It's not done, but that's what they're looking at.
I did know they were working on it, though, yes.
Yeah. That's a solid fight, no?
It's a great fight for
That's a
Usyk.
solid fight, man.
Yeah, Chisora, if you're not on your P's and Q's, he can beat you.
And listen, man, Usyk isn't considered a big heavyweight, so we're going to see, if he can take that power.
Yeah.
We're going to see.
That's an interesting fight.
Earthquake has a great point here. He said the World Boxing Super Series was a train wreck and delivered at the same time. He's 100% right, because that was just within inches of falling apart. A lot of people were trying to pull out of it and this and that, and that was like right there. I mean, that was seriously like inches away from falling apart, and luckily, man, it didn't, and they went through. Now, will there be another one, man? Who knows?
Yeah, that's interesting.
But yeah, we'll see what it is. All right, 2 more categories, Beeb. 2 more. Fighter of the year. Fighter of the year. Beeb, I got to give this one. And a lot of people will disagree with me here, but yeah, I don't care. Neo Inoue, for me, is the fighter of the year. He defeated Emmanuel Rodriguez and Nonito Donaire to win the World Boxing Super Series. Listen, man, I picked Emmanuel Rodriguez to beat Neo Inoue. Emmanuel Rodriguez was one of those up-and-coming guys. He reminded me a lot of Teofimo Lopez. Not the way he fights, but the hype behind him and everything like that. And after seeing him fight, I'm like, man, this guy is another level guy. He was just manhandled by Inoue in that fight. Just demolished in a couple of rounds. And then Nonito Donaire, as good as that guy was, as good as that fight was, still lost the fight, but it's a good fight, but Inoue wins that fight. Inoue comes out on top. I think that, so for me, this was kind of Inoue's coming out year. Everybody always want to know, how good was this guy? Was this guy for real? Is he, and he went through everybody in that Super Series tournament. For me, he's fighter of the year. Two solid fights.
I'm going to have to go with Canelo Alvarez. Once again, great resume.
A lot of people say that, yeah.
Beat Danny Jacobs. That's a very solid fighter. Daniel Jacobs.
And he beat him sound. It wasn't disputed.
He beat him at 160, and then he moves up and captures another belt in another weight class.
At 175.
175 against Sergey Kovalev.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I don't think he took a backward step in 2019 at all.
Yeah.
Can't criticize any of the opponents he fought.
No, you can't. You can't. I mean, that was, you can't hate on that one either, man. That was, that was solid, man. Yeah. Solid. You can't, from 160 to 175. Yeah. And listen, I thought Kovalev, you know what? And I said this before there. I thought Kovalev was washed after those Ward fights.
He was up on the cards.
He was up on the cards. He was winning that fight.
Not on my cards, but he was up on everyone else's.
He was winning that fight. I thought he was, he might have been winning that fight. And
most people agree with you.
Might have been winning that fight. And I tell you what, and Canelo knocked him out. Knocked out the bigger guy. And I'll tell you what, man, it wasn't like he was dogging that fight or he looked slow in that fight. I'm talking about Kovalev. Kovalev was there to win, man. He wasn't just there for a payday. I know he was taking pictures and selfies and everything with Canelo prior to the fight and everything like that, and I bagged on him for that. But once he got on the ring, man, he showed he wanted that fight. So.
And I still can't believe these people saying that Kovalev took a dive.
Did you see what he got hit with?
He would have to be the best actor in the history of Hollywood to pull that acting job off.
All right, let me ask you this. So, how logical is it that he took a dive? Because let's look at it this way. If Kovalev doesn't take a dive and finishes the fight, say wins the fight, then what? There's a rematch, right? That's going to be a lot more money than what he got here, right?
Yeah.
No question. A lot more money.
Yeah.
There it is. So what are you going to give him to take a dive?
I don't know.
Come on, man. Don't be silly.
It just makes there's no incentive to take a dive for him.
Yeah. Jerome King says Wilder or Spence's fighter of the year. It's possible. It's possible. All right. So let's go to caller of the year, Beeb. My caller of the year, which some would argue is the most coveted prize in the game today. My caller of the year, this caller, breaks down fights every week, is one of the most consistent callers we have. He's very knowledgeable and took down the Beeb in the Beat the Beeb contest that we had.
He did.
Nacho, for me, is caller of the year. Beeb, what say you?
This is tough for me to do because I like Nacho an awful lot. But I'm gonna have to go with Wood. Wood I've known for years. I've known Wood for a good 5 years, and he's funnier now than he was when I knew him. And he was always funny, but he's even funnier now than he was 5 years ago. And to tell you the truth, I have to give him credit for one thing. Like before, I used to dismiss him as just trying to be a funny guy and call in just for shock value.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be honest with you. He actually brings up good points now. He breaks the. I used to always argue with him. And I said, "Wood, you're not breaking it down. You're just saying this. You're just saying that." But he breaks it down now. Like he really studies the game now.
Yeah.
Or at least he can articulate his points a lot better now than he ever did. And all the while in doing it, he still makes you laugh your ass off. He's
insane.
He is
so funny. I tell you, what's funny is that we had a show a couple of shows back. And you know how our show is on delay, right? I could hear my dad cracking up in the other room because he listens to the show, and I could hear him cracking up, man. And I'm like, what is he laughing at? And so we finish out the show, and I go ask him. I was like, what? He's like, Wood. He was like, what? He was listening to Wood's call and just cracked up.
What did he say one day that he just destroyed everybody? Everyone he
was talking about it, when he was in the projects. He said that you could tell when it's payday or everybody gets their checks because they have cereal. They have the good kind of cereal.
Oh my God.
Cozy Riddle said Fight Doctor is a sleeper for the caller of the year. The guy is hilarious. He absolutely
good.
is.
He's good too.
He absolutely is. But I will tell you this. So we have to break this tie somehow because there can only be one. Most of the chat last time and most of the chat this time gives a nod to Nacho as caller of the year. So Nacho, congratulations. Nacho is caller of the year.
He is the consensus pick.
Yeah, he absolutely is. He is.
There's no doubt about it. And I did, it was hard for me to give it to Wood, but I guess overall, if you want to talk about consistency, I don't think Nacho's missed a show.
Well, Nacho not only doesn't miss shows, Nacho watches every fight.
Yeah.
He watches the fights from Japan. He watches the fight. He watches them all. Without question, he watches all of them. So Serengeti just asked, did Jason win caller of the year yet? Yeah, he won. Yeah, he won. Don't worry about it. He's good. He's good. Congratulations, Jason.
Well, as much as we like to dump on Jason, we have to give him credit for
caller of the year last year.
No, but we have to give him credit for one thing. He does watch every show too, just about.
He does.
And he's starting to retweet the show and stuff now. So yeah, I got to give Jason a shout out for his his dedication and his support of the show.
We love Jason, man. We pick on him a lot when he calls up and everything like that, but we do love Jason. He's a good guy. Don't tell him I said that, but you know, it is. All right, Nacho wins the Caller of the Year, and that's pretty much it, man. That's what we got. That's the end of the year wrap, B.
End of the year, and we got a slow boxing week too coming up.
We do. We got a real slow one, man. I tell you what, man. It's empty until the 10th. That's when Clarissa Shields fights.
Yeah.
Well, we had some action today. Was it Kaz Ioka and let's see here. Who was it? Javier Cintron. Kaz Ioka wins the fight 116-112 twice and 115-113. It's funny that the article on Regan says he eked out. You know, he edges out the Cintron 116-112. That's 8 rounds of 4, son. That's look, man. But I heard it was a good fight. I didn't get the chance to see it yet, but I heard it was a good fight.
I didn't see it either.
You know, but yeah, man. But that was it. That was the big Japanese card going on, and I mean, there's always one on New Year's Eve in Japan, and that's it, man.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah, but there's nothing. I'm looking at it now. Nothing until the 10th.
Wow.
Nothing until the 10th. So
wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? It's like when you have the summer, when you get that summer like in June or July, and there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
You get those spots in the summer. So, yeah. Tone, thank you so much, man. He said, good luck in 2020, fellas. We appreciate that, man. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for listening, man. We appreciate all you guys. We appreciate you guys listening and keeping us on for another year. Without you guys, the show wouldn't be here. So thank you so much for listening. All you guys going out tonight to celebrate New Year's and everything like that, be safe. You know, be safe. Don't drink and drive like the Beeb. Or who's the other guy that got caught drinking and driving? Errol Spence. Errol Spence. Yeah, don't be an Errol Spence. You know, so be safe, man. Be safe. Beeb, any final words?
Well, boxing has really, really come on strong this past year, and I think next year is going to be even better. So I'm looking forward to the future in the sport of boxing, and I'm looking forward to. And I have a feeling that either Fury or Wilder is going to fight Joshua next year, by the end of the year.
I don't think so.
I think so.
All right. So Centurion Son, parting shot here says, which fight are you most excited for 2020? As of right now,
the one
got to be Fury Wilder.
Yeah, Fury Wilder. Yeah.
Who do you think puts it together? Who you think Crawford and Spence get it on?
No, I don't.
I don't either. Serengeti, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it. He says, good luck to us. Brandon White says, we appreciate you for helping work go by quicker. Hey, man, that's what we're here for. If we can help it go a little bit quicker, that's why we're here. Andres Chiani says, Crawford Spence 2020. Listen, man, I would love to see it. I don't think it's going to happen. But let me say this. Here's what I will say. I think you will see Crawford fight a PBC fighter in 2020. I think that bridge does get crossed. It won't be Errol Spence, but I think he fights somebody on that other side of the fence in 2020. Lobitos, Den Boxing says Teofimo versus Loma. Yeah, that's one you can look forward to also. A lot of big fights already set for 2020, so yeah, definitely looking forward to that one. Chandler M says, anybody else think that Crawford got exposed his last fight?
No. I don't.
No. Didn't get exposed at all. I don't think he did anyway. He got caught a lot. Yeah, he got caught a lot. He got caught early, but again, in true Crawford fashion, once he figures you out, the fight's over. You know, and he pressed him and got him out of there. And you could tell he was real uncomfortable getting pressed. Well, you can tell that. I mean, when Crawford was pressing him, man, you could tell he was super uncomfortable with that.
Well, not only that.
Nobody likes pressure, man.
Yeah, but not only that. Let's look at it in context. The guy won 2 rounds.
Yeah,
Same thing with the Wallen fight. Like, what did Wallen win? 3 rounds in that fight?
maybe.
I
Maybe.
just-
He cut him. He cut him.
I think I gave Wallen 2 rounds. I think I had Fury winning that fight 10 rounds to 2.
Yeah.
And everyone's like making such a big deal about that fight because of the freaking cut. I just don't understand. People
Just throwing hands. You're going to get cut.
people don't know how to use the 10-point must system. They just don't understand it. They don't understand it.
Yeah. Ryan Hong, who claims in the chat he is already drunk, has a question for Beeb. He said, Beeb, who you got, Crawford or Spence?
I did have Spence, but after this accident, I don't know.
I tell you what, I had Spence before, but after his last fight, man, I got to take. I'm going to take Crawford in that fight.
Well,
I'm a big Spence guy too. I like Spence a lot, man.
you know what? I'm gonna. It's. I'm gonna stick with Spence.
You stick with Spence. Listen,
Yeah.
not a bad pick either. Not a bad pick either. Okay, so the video that you sent me about Derek James. Number one, I thought that was clickbait, but number two, Derek James didn't really say anything about it. He just said, "No, I don't see anything wrong with him."
No, I thought it was bizarre that other people like noticed.
Right, I did too, because I
a
thought
lot of people are concerned because they don't know if there's some cognitive damage there.
sometimes you and I tend to read into things because that's kind of what we do. You know, sometimes we have to look past things and say, hey, wait, this and this and this. By the way, thank you, Corey Lee Boxing. He says, congratulations on a great year of boxing shows. Thank you so much, my man. But sometimes we have to read it. And you know, after I'm seeing this, when I'm watching Spence, I'm thinking to myself, you know, look, man, am I reading into this? Am I not? And then I text you almost the same time, or you text me and says, he doesn't look good. And I said, yeah, you said exactly. I'm wondering, again, man, I'm just wondering if maybe he was a little bit sauced over there or whatever. And that maybe that, because he seemed a little bit slower.
Well,
Just his speech seemed slow.
Raphael Dawkins made a point. Like, could it be that he's got like his teeth or something? But I never heard of anyone that had false teeth or dentures to talk kind of slow. Does that make you talk slower?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's in pain. I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, nobody really knows what injuries he had, though.
He sounded different, and like Raphael
Yeah.
Dawkins mentioned, it's because of the dental work. I don't know. It's not his voice sounded different. His speech pattern to me sounded different.
Yes, very
agree?
much so.
Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Spence, Lobita said Spence sounds like Riddick Bowe. Corey Lee said he definitely sounded way different. To me, he seemed like, and Chandler M said slurred damage from the accident. Listen, man, I'm not 100% sure it was from the accident. Corey Lee asked, is Spence still drinking? Yeah.
I'm going to be honest
I would
with
lean
you.
listen, I don't know. But if you had to ask me, if I'm looking at him and I look at an interview from a year ago, it looks like he's impaired in some way, and I don't know that it's from the accident. He just looks impaired. Just from my eyes,
Yeah.
and
I
whether
think
it was or wasn't, I don't know.
I think he's still drinking, Eric.
Yeah. I would think so. I would think so.
It's a shame, but
And
I
that's
think-
a dangerous thing, man.
It's a shame, but I think he's still drinking.
Yeah.
It's a shame. It's sad. Sad to say, but I think he's still drinking.
I think he might be. I don't, like I said, man, I don't know. I can't really accuse him. I don't know for a fact. I don't know anything about it. The only evidence I have is the way he sounded there.
You're right,
And-
Eric. We shouldn't jump to conclusions. You're right.
But you know what? If you have like I said, I think it's funny, not funny, but funny, ironic, that like Derek James and all the people around him, no, he's fine. What's wrong with him? No, he sounds fine. What are you talking about? Everybody else around you is saying, hey, there's something here. You, all his inside people are saying, no, he's fine. And I get that. Just as long as that's not going on the inside as well.
Well,
I get the outward what you project.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the problem. Okay, we're in a different era now, different age now, where people can admit when they have problems and it's socially accepted now.
Yeah.
Like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you would keep things under the rug. You would keep things under wraps because you would be shamed, right? But now we embrace people, we welcome people who cry out for help. Say that, we like people like Mike Tyson, for instance, had a lot of issues, and people like the fact that he comes out and talks about it. And now they kind of empathize with the guy, and they've embraced the guy. Mike Tyson is loved now. It's ironic because Mike Tyson said, "No one really cares about me. They only care about me because I'm fighting."
Yeah.
You're not fighting anymore, and people, I think, love you more now than when you were a fighter.
100%, man. And that's the most honest guy that you're going to run into. I saw him. Did you get a chance to see that Undisputed Truth when he had that on?
Yeah.
And he talked about the Desiree Washington incident.
Yeah.
And I still
I don't think he did it. I honestly don't think.
Well, you know what
he said?
I
honestly don't think he did it.
But you know what he said?
What?
He said that they think I did it. He said, you know what? Because he said, somebody yelled out in the crowd, "You didn't do it, Mike." And he says, "Well, they think I did it." And he still to this day doesn't think he did anything wrong. I've kind of come to a conclusion here because Desiree Washington never got rich off of that. She never wrote a book. She never appeared for money. She never got famous.
But didn't she try to, and they wouldn't allow her?
I don't think so.
But she cried wolf before. She cried wolf in another instance, though.
Did she? Listen, yeah. The whole thing was poor. Listen, it's kind of like, and I think Garrison, the prosecutor.
Wrong place, wrong time?
Yeah, kind of. Garrison, the prosecutor, said, I think it was in his opening or closing statements, he said, if you're running through Central Park and you get mugged, but you're running there at midnight, is it a bad decision? Yes. But does it make it any less of a crime? No.
That's a great statement.
It's a great point, right? And that's what I believe happened. That's what I believe happened. Because everybody said, what was she doing up in his room at 2:00 in the morning? What did you think was going to happen? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right. I mean, are you guilty of bad judgment? No question. But if this happened, did you deserve that to happen to you? No, nobody deserves that.
You know what could have happened? And this is, I'm just thinking my own, to myself here. Maybe she did want to, and then when he started, maybe he was a little rough, or maybe it hurt her. So maybe initially she did want to.
Right.
And then she probably did say, she could have probably said stop because it was either too rough or it hurt her too much.
Right.
Because she was a small woman.
He goes Mike Tyson on her, I mean, who knows?
So then maybe she did say, even if you start, once you say stop, the guy has to stop or it's rape.
Well, sure.
It doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter what the girl does to you.
No, means no.
As soon as she says, she could start and get you going and then tell you,
that's it.
I don't want it now.
That's all you need to hear.
You have to stop.
Absolutely.
A lot of guys think that it because the girl arouses me and gets me in the mood that she has to finish the job now.
I think that's a crazy thing to think.
A lot of guys think that.
I know they do, and I think it's just crazy. I mean,
so to be perfectly honest with you, that's also a possible scenario too.
Could be. She gets involved and she's like, "What am I doing here? Why am I here? I shouldn't be doing this." And
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, there's been times when you see girls. Like, I've been at parties before, and a girl would come over or whatever, and there'd be all guys there, and just like she'd be the only girl, and she'd be like, "I'm sorry, guys, I just don't feel comfortable," and then she would leave.
Yeah.
And then sometimes a woman may go into a situation thinking one thing, and then when she gets there, she sees things that kind of upset her, or she gets scared, and then she has second thoughts. We all,
Yeah.
I mean, we all do that sometimes.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Matt B, thank you so much. He said, thanks for all the great shows this year. We appreciate it, buddy. Centurion's son said, do you still remember the guy, the Canadian guy from the talk show who asked Tyson about this, about the Desiree Washington thing? Yeah, Tyson laid into him, man. Tyson is so great for unintentional comedy, especially when it comes to interviews and everything like that. I mean, he is so great. If you go back, it is just gold. You know, the Lennox Lewis press conference, anything, the Canadian guy on the talk show, the guy from WOR in New York, which we got a soundbite from at the top of the show. It's amazing. I mean, he really is. He's amazing.
That guy in Canada was a jerk. Oh
He
my God.
was.
He was. So
He
bad.
was.
What
Why
did
would you bring that up?
What did he think he was doing there?
Right.
He totally blindsided him there.
You
Set
don't
him
do
up.
that. You don't do that.
You don't do that. That's disrespectful.
The guy's doing you a favor, coming on your show. He's promoting something. He's getting viewers and everything like that for you. So it's a win-win for both of you.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
He set him up.
Yeah, he did.
Fucking set him up. Scumbag.
Chandler M said in his prime, Mike Tyson was undoubtedly the baddest dude to ever walk the planet.
But here's the problem, though.
I'm going to get too much of an argument.
Yeah, when was his prime, though? He had a short
Spinks. Spinks was his prime.
prime.
When he knocked out Michael Spinks.
And that was in 88, right?
I think so.
And he won the title in 86. So the guy only had, according to most people, the guy only had a 2-year prime. Think about it.
Yeah.
That's,
But even out of his prime, he was beating top guys.
Yeah, I mean, so that's what I'm saying. So what, how do we distinguish when a fighter's prime is and when it isn't?
When I think of vintage Mike Tyson, I do think that I think of that Spinks fight.
Yeah.
90 seconds. Because Michael Spinks was a great fighter.
Beat Larry
And
Holmes, beat Jerry Cooney.
Up until, let's face it, man, up until that point, Mike Tyson hadn't really fought any, the upper echelon guys. I mean, he fought who was there. They weren't, this guy was different. Spinks was different. He was kind of like the guy. And he murdered Spinks, man. I mean, he just demolished him, man.
Yeah.
Lobitos Den Boxing says, is Spence a victim or is he a train wreck? Also, he comments he has made. Also, all the comments he has made. You listen. As of right now, we've got no other reason to believe that he's anything other than a victim. That's it. Now, he did listen. Is he a train wreck in the fact that he was driving drunk at the time? Yeah, probably. But listen, let's not pile on too much because we don't know. If more comes to light, then we, you can make a conclusion.
If he's got a drinking problem, then he needs help.
Listen, you got a DUI, you need help. No question about it. If you get a DUI, you've got a problem.
I believe.
That's it.
I believe you have to take a course after you get a DWI.
I mean, let's face it. I mean, is there any? If you get a DUI or DWI or whatever they call it in the state,
DUI or DW.
Yeah, it's one of those.
They call them different things in different states.
But you're driving while intoxicated or driving drunk. Drunk driving. Listen, if you get a ticket for drunk driving and you get in an accident and you get ticketed, where the law has to intervene in your life,
that's the problem.
You got a problem. If the law has to intervene in your life for something that you're doing casually, like drinking or drugs or whatever you want to do, you got a problem.
And the crazy
no
thing
question.
The crazy thing is this: everybody wants to jump on Brian Kenny for just saying drive safe.
So what?
So what?
So he makes light of it. Listen, you got in a car accident where you rolled your car, you came out. You're going to have to take some heat for it. Yeah. I mean, you're going to have to take some heat for it.
That's it.
It just is. If you get a crazy tattoo on your arm or something like that, or a tattoo of Jim Carrey on your arm, you're going to take some heat for it. You may like it, but you're going to take some heat for it. You know,
you got to deal with the repercussions.
you got to deal with it. Be a man. You know what I mean? You made the choice.
Too bad. You just got to deal.
Yeah,
with it.
you're gonna have to deal with it. You know,
it is what it is, bro.
I don't understand it.
I don't get it.
Fanboy Killer says Spencer's train wreck. He hangs with AB. Just saying, AB's got that effect on people, doesn't he? AB's got that effect on people. Jerome King says no. Brian Kenny was wrong for saying drive safe. I don't know that he was.
Oh, he said he was not wrong.
Oh, he was not wrong. Okay, yeah. I agree with that. I don't think he was wrong. Yeah, and Andres Chiane may have said it the best. He said, "I'm just thankful Spencer's alive and presumably the same after what happened." I agree. That was, I mean, if you saw that wreck, that was a terrible wreck. It really was.
That car looked like a crushed tuna can. Didn't it?
It was terrible. Brandon White says people were more upset with Kenny prying like he usually does. He's a reporter. He's there to ask questions.
What the fuck is he supposed to do?
What do you want him to ask? What his favorite color was? What his favorite breakfast was? You know what I mean? What do you want him to ask? JC, thank you so much. We appreciate it. He said, great show. Big Burchelt fan here. Hope he whoops everyone in 2020. Let's talk about that guy for a second, man. Burchelt is the real deal, no?
I think so.
Man, that guy, I think he's going to have a big 2020. I really do.
Yeah.
Centurion Son said, is Spence Crawford the most wished fight in boxing? I think it might be. A lot of people want to see that fight. A lot of people want to see that fight, man. I don't know if what's a bigger fight be? I would say Joshua and Wilder, but that's not a bigger fight.
Joshua Wilder's the biggest fight in boxing right now.
You think so?
I think so.
Bigger than this one, Spence Crawford?
100%.
Oh, man. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it is.
Okay.
From a financial standpoint, 100% it is. But you're talking about as a highly anticipated matchup? Is that what you're
Yeah. It's interesting, man.
Undisputed, bro.
Well, it won't be, though.
No. Well,
it won't be undisputed.
The thing is this. Usyk's going to fight for the vacant title.
Yeah.
And then he's going to fight Joshua again, so.
Right.
Imagine if Usyk beats Joshua. Do you see that coming?
I do. And if Usyk, I want to see. That's why I'm anxious to see Usyk against a heavyweight, like a Chisora.
What's Chisora, like 250, 260?
He's big. I think, what was he, like 260, 270 for his last fight?
260,
wasn't he?
I think.
Something crazy. He was like Ruiz level.
But he's only a 6'3".
Yeah.
No, he's only 6'2". No,
Usyk.
he's 6'1".
Who?
Chisora. Let me see how tall
is he really?
Yeah, he's not that tall.
I thought he was bigger than that.
He's like my height. Let me see how tall Derek Chisora is. I want to say he's 6'1". Derek Chisora box rec. See how tall this guy is. 6'1.5".
Wow. Benjamin Franklin in the chat says AJ Usyk. He said Usyk will beat Wilder or Usyk will beat Joshua.
He weighed 260 against David Price. He's 6'1", like 6'1.5", 260.
Yeah. Centurion says Chisora Usyk is done for March. I don't believe it's done. I believe they're still working on 2 different dates for that.
Yeah,
so it's not finished just yet.
It looks like it's going to be done though.
Yeah, it's going to happen, but yeah.
Montoro got fired from Ring Magazine. Why?
Where are you seeing that at? Oh, shut up. That's Jason. Montero just got fired from Ring Mag. More fake news from Jason.
How does he know?
He doesn't.
Let's go on Mike Montoro's Twitter to see if he said anything about it. Got me fucking gossiping now. What's wrong with me? What the fuck is wrong with me? This guy's got me triggered.
What's wrong with you, son? What's wrong with you?
That's so funny. Mike Montero.
No. You're such a troll, dude. I knew that was false. He's a troll, son. He didn't even go to that fight. He didn't even. I bet you any money he didn't even go to that Gervonta Davis fight.
He didn't go.
No. First, he had tickets in the third row, and then he had tickets where in box seats. He said him and his boys bought a box. Was it a luxury suite or something like that? Remember that?
Yeah, he's lying. He's lying.
Serengeti asked, did I ever run into Bronner in Cincinnati? You know what? No, I've never run into Bronner in Cincinnati, but I ran into him, of all places, in Toledo. I ran into him in Toledo at a hotel in Toledo when I ran into him and Rasheed Warren because, what's his name? Robert Easter was up there fighting. So I run into him.
Didn't you interview Adrian Bronner once?
I did run it. You know what?
Yeah, I did. Fight. He was actually nice to you, wasn't he?
He was awesome. He was awesome. You know what? I ring into Bronner at the Hank Lundy fight in Cincinnati too. So I run into him at like fights, but if we're like at the grocery store or something, I never run into him. We don't. I think he lives in Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken, or he's got a home in Atlanta. I'm not sure where he hangs out.
Do you say like what's up to him when you see him? What does he say?
No, I may approach him or something like that, but like last we ran into Mike Stafford when we were in Toledo, and I asked Antonio if he wanted to get his picture taken with Adrian Bronner. And Antonio was a little shy about it. He was like, no, you know. But Mike Stafford's a cool guy. Adrian Bronner, I'm gonna tell you right now, Adrian Bronner is the nicest guy when
he's alone.
When you talk, he could be with people. We talked to him at the fights. Super nice guy. He really is. He's always a nice guy. It gets blown. All the stuff that he does, and we talk about the train wrecks and everything like that. And obviously, you know, sometimes he gets in there, but he's a super nice guy. When you talk to him, if you ever see him or whatever, he's very approachable. Very approachable guy and everything like that. He's a super nice guy, man. He really is. Really is, man. Look at Jason trolling.
It's New Year's Eve, buddy. Let's get the New Year started off on the right foot. Stop.
You know what? Jason's staying home for New Year's this year. He ain't got nobody.
Well, he's got the.
He's going to be kissing his left hand, son.
He's got the jar of Vaseline.
You know the worst part? He's still going to have to buy the Vaseline to drink, man. That's the worst part.
Jason, you live in a Motel 6. Stop it.
Yeah. Yeah, I live in a trailer park. Oh, my God. Did you see the Haymanites? And then there's another guy on there, Real Al Heyman or whatever.
Everyone's killing him.
They're killing Jason on there, man. They're killing. I feel bad for him.
He's like the laughingstock of Twitter.
He is. He is. Oh my goodness.
Thank you, Scant Rants.
Scant Rants, thank you so much, man. Happy New Year to you too, my man. We appreciate it.
Who's that? You take a picture with Kenny Porter?
Mr. Dant says, that wasn't my experience when I met Bronner. He was a real stick in the mud, according to Mr. Dant. Mr. Dant, what did he say? When did you meet him? What happened?
What happened?
Yeah, I'd like to hear what happened, man.
I'm dying to see what happens.
Yeah, because he's always been great, man. He really has. And he would have took a picture with my son and everything like that. I mean, he has no problems with that stuff, man.
Thank you, Dale. Happy New Year to you as well. All the best.
Thank you so much, Dale.
Thank you so much, Dale. All the best to you too as well.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, so I haven't heard anything from Brant, man. So I don't know.
Where that
Bronner looks pregnant.
That Fury fight is in Vegas, but what arena is that in? Is that in the T-Mobile?
MGM.
MGM.
But I wonder. I guess they would have it at the MGM then. So yeah. Serengeti is right, Jason. I campaigned for your victory. He did. Jason fell short this year. But hey, you can't have it all.
Sorry,
can't have it
Jason.
all.
You are not caller of the year.
Yeah. Jason, you are the weakest link. There you go. Dale and Chi-Town says, thanks for the show, guys. We appreciate it. And I think we're about out of time here, man.
We're out of time. We're going to get this New Year's Eve started.
That's right. Look, Beeb's got big plans with Lois, man.
I'm going to bed at 8. This is the one holiday I think this is a stupid holiday. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I was never big on New Year's Eve until I started drinking. So
My
Now I
favorite
just get
holiday
I just
is
get pasted,
Thanksgiving.
son.
My favorite holiday is Thanksgiving.
I love Thanksgiving. That's my favorite holiday.
I don't like Christmas.
Bar none, Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday.
I'm not crazy about Christmas. I used to like it with when the little girl was around, but other than that, I don't like it. It's good if you must love Christmas for kids because you have the kids.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun, man. Yeah, they're a lot of fun, for sure.
Valentine's Day, I hate too, man. I cry.
I hate Valentine's Day.
Brings back so many bad memories.
Oh, I gotta, it's like you gotta remember, I gotta remember Valentine's Day, and then you gotta, I don't know, I don't like it.
I just love Thanksgiving, man. I love the pies.
Yeah.
I love
all the sides and everything like that.
I love the stuffing. I love the nice potatoes.
Yeah.
Lois, why don't we have a turkey dinner tomorrow? What do you think?
Jason asked, how is Robbie at Ringside Reporter Live? He's doing fine. I talked to him last week. He's doing great. Actually, I talked to him earlier this week. He's doing good. So, yeah, he's doing all right.
Yeah, Robbie's doing great, man.
Yeah, he's doing good. So, there you
okay.
go. There you go. All right, guys. Until next year, you guys be safe tonight. You guys be safe, man. Don't.
He goes. He's about to drink ginger ale and go to bed. I don't know what it
some
is.
Ginseng.
I'm actually freaking tired today, man.
You look tired. You look tired. Get on the vegetables, man. Get on the vegetables. Go vegan, man. Get on the vegetables.
I think I gotta stop. I gotta cut back on the cardio. I'm doing too much cardio. That's what the problem is.
That's probably it too. You don't do like normal cardio, like 15, 20 minutes like a normal person.
I do a minimum
of like 3 hours.
I do a minimum of an hour of cardio. Maybe I gotta cut that back to 45 minutes or something.
I do a minimum of an hour. I saw that thing that walk you sent me. It was like 2.5 hours. I'm like, what?
Oh, when it's nice out, when the weather's nice, I do a lot of walking. Oh, I love to walk. Walking's like my favorite exercise. It really is. I love walking.
Serengeti says, what celeb does Jason look like? What was that show back in the day? You remember Life Goes On? That kid Corky? That's who Jason looks like. Or on LA Law, Benny. Remember Benny from LA Law? That's who Jason looks like.
He said he looks like Corky. Oh my, Corky. What the fuck? It's pretty sad. He's too young to remember that show.
He doesn't remember that show. Yeah, he don't remember that show.
He's gonna Google it and he's gonna be like,
he's gonna Google it. He's gonna be, Lord is an idiot. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, he's like Corky.
He looks like Corky from Life Goes On.
That's ridiculous.
That's messed up, man. How you say that to him, B, man? That's messed up, man.
That's horrible.
That's horrible, man. You need to apologize for that, man. That's wrong.
Corky Thatcher.
Corky Thatcher. Dale pulled it out. He knew exactly who it was. Corky Thatcher. I didn't even remember Corky's last name, man. Dale had that stuff going.
Dale the Jeffersons.
That's funny, man.
Oh my God.
Who won that shirt? Who did win the shirt?
We'll have to go back and look.
I'll have to go back and look. What was the thing with the shirt?
Oh, the highest super chat.
Oh yeah, the highest super chat. Oh, that's right. Who got yeah, we got to look at that.
I got to go back and look.
And we got to do conversions too, because some of them from different countries, so they could
Yeah, the pound is worth more than the dollar, so.
So somebody could have been edged out.
One time, Sean Newton gave me like I think 100 something, but it was Philippine money. It was Filipino money. No, it was Taiwan. It was Taiwan money, and I'm like, oh wow! But it was.
B was all excited. Went to the bank, got like 20 cents back.
It was like $2. But no, I'm not disrespecting him for giving me $2 because I
cold blood, man. He gave something to the show. Why are you dissing it? This is why I'm Sean Newton's favorite host, son. This is why you are the unlikable host.
Nobody.
He gave you something.
I know.
You just pissed all over it, B.
I didn't understand the Taiwan conversion.
It's jacked up. That's jacked up.
I'm sorry.
That's jacked, son.
Taiwan conversion. It was 100 something. I forget what the type of money they use over there. Pesos or some shit. and it was only like I converted it. It was like $2.
Stop.
I just got excited. I thought it was $100.
Just say thank you. Just say thank you.
Thank you, Sean Newton.
Unbelievable.
Happy New Year, Sean Newton.
Like you were born in a barn or something like that, man. Seriously. It's like, Sean Newton, thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
All right, since B won't thank you, I thank you.
So happy that you did that, Sean Newton.
What's the matter with you?
I'm happy he did it. I'm being honest. Yeah, there's calls. Why didn't you call?
You called in. It's too late now.
It's too late now.
Too late. He always calls in late.
I don't
And
understand
wonders what's going on.
why he does that. Like,
I'll call in 2 minutes before the show ends.
oh my god. He knows that Blog Talk, the lines to get shut off at a certain time on Blog Talk. I don't understand. Like,
I don't understand.
you know the deal, bro.
I don't get it.
Please.
Get it?
Killing me. Fucking killing me.
All right, guys. Happy New Year. Be safe.
Happy New Year. Take care, everyone.
And we will see you on Sunday.
He says I was on hold. Stop it.
He said what?
He said I was on hold.
Come
He was
on,
not.
son.
No, you weren't. Stop it.
Come on, son.
Please, Corey.
All right, guys.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Catch ya.
Take care.
Thanks for everything.
All right, enjoy. Happy New Year.